Guys, what's going on? I hope you guys are well. I hope you guys are staying safe. I hope everything's good. So guys, Freddie Roach. Basically, let me just tell you the format of this video, as I do normally when I do two topics. I'm gonna be talking about what Freddie Roach said. I'm also gonna talk about what the rematch between Lara and Warrington, which has been confirmed here in the UK. So guys, Freddie Roach has said that Keith Thurman is better than Errol Spence. He said he's more versatile than Errol Spence. A lot of people, you know, spin this narrative. A lot of people are, a lot of people that I have on my, that watch my channel, say that Errol Spence is not as good as Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman is more versatile. And let me break down what I think Keith Thurman is better at than Errol Spence. I think Keith Thurman has got better footwork than Errol Spence. I think he moves better in the ring. I think he's faster with his feet. He can move to side. He can move to side to side. He's very athletic. Errol Spence is a lot more robotic, right? And as I said, with his movement, as I explained in the video that I did previously, I feel Errol Spence has more robotic movement, and Keith Thurman has better footwork. He moves better. He's faster with his feet. He may even have more punching power. And Danny Garcia confirmed this, that he said that he punches harder than Errol Spence. Thurman, I believe, has more thud in his punches. Errol Spence is more of a guy that breaks you down. I don't think he has that kind of impact that Keith Thurman has. So he has more snap in his punches, I believe. However, Errol Spence, for me, is a better fighter than Keith one-time Thurman, and I'll break it down. Firstly, Errol Spence, he can wear you down. He can walk you down, right? And he can beat you up. As you saw against when he fought Kell Brook. He walked Kell Brook down, wore Kell Brook out. He's very good with his body shots. He's got better body shots than Keith Thurman. And those wear you out. He's a constant presence. He has more of a physical presence. And Danny Garcia mentioned this, that Errol Spence has more physical presence. His presence, you can feel his presence in front of you. He has that kind of, he's always on top of you. He has that kind of physical presence, which Keith Thurman doesn't have. Also, Errol Spence, for me, is a lot more disciplined than Keith Thurman. I feel Errol Spence can stick to a game plan better. We saw that in the Mikey Garcia fight. Errol Spence is a very, very good boxer, and I believe he can do it for 12 rounds. Keith Thurman is a lot more vulnerable. I believe he's a lot more chinny. He's also been down. Not just that, I feel like he's got a weakness with the body punches, where he gets hit with a body shot and he gets hurt. He's very, very vulnerable. We saw him against Lopez. We saw him against Porter. We saw him against Collazo. He's been hurt several times. Pacquiao. He's been hurt badly several times in his career. Errol Spence hasn't really shown any sign of vulnerability to the extent where you think, oh my God, he might get knocked out. I saw the Collazo fight against Thurman, and Thurman almost looked like he was going to get knocked out. The Pacquiao fight, he was down and he was hurt to the body. The Porter fight, he was hurt in that fight. Lopez fight, he was almost stopped in that fight. This is a guy that's rode his luck more than one time. And you know what? He's got heart, he gets through it, and he got through it in most of those fights. However, Errol Spence, for me, is a lot more durable. Errol Spence takes a better punch. Errol Spence can walk you down, break you down. Errol Spence can also box from the center of the ring. He's got a very good jab. A very, very good jab that can control, where he has good control. I feel like I feel like Spence is a more complete fighter. He's got more facets to his game. However, Thurman might be more athletic, better footwork, better movement. Might even have slightly faster hands. Yeah, Thurman might have the faster hands. However, Thurman isn't as durable. And Thurman, for me, I don't believe he's as good a pressure fighter as Spence. I feel like Spence can box like Thurman can, but Spence can also apply a lot of pressure, so he can take the fight to you. Thurman likes to move and give angles, and he's, like I said, he may even have more pop than Spence. But Spence comes across a more complete fighter than Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman feels like a guy where he has got through most of his fights, but at times you think he might throw it away because he has that vulnerability about him. Whereas Errol Spence doesn't really show a lot of vulnerability in his fights. You know, in the Garcia fight, he was clinical. Danny Garcia, he completely outboxed him. Mikey Garcia completely outboxed him. He went to war with Sean Porter, and that was a close fight. But he knocked Sean Porter down, right, to win the fight. Also, if you look at the fight when he went toe-to-toe with Porter, he also showed a better chin. You know, Porter landed flush shots on Spence, and Spence showed a great chin. He wasn't hurt in the fight. He never went down. You know, Porter buckled him a couple of times, but Spence held firm. He held his ground, and he ended up dropping Sean Porter. And he was fighting Sean Porter's fight. Now, Sean Porter, for me, would make it a very rough and tough fight anyway, because Sean Porter, he's always on your chest. He's always making it a rough and tough fight. But I just feel that Spence is more complete than Keith Thurman. I don't think Thurman has got... I think Thurman lacks in that durability. I think, don't get me wrong, he's got it through. He's got through a lot of his fights. But I just think that Spence is a lot more durable. He takes a better shot. And like I said, I believe that pressure fighting ability that Spence has is ruthless, especially at welterweight, where he's a big welterweight. He's a lot bigger than most welterweights. So he's constantly putting pressure on you, constantly, you know, leaning on you, making it a physical fight, where Thurman doesn't really do that. And I think if both those guys went head-to-head, I think Thurman would cause Spence problems. But I think Spence knocks him out because of the weaknesses that I've mentioned. I think Spence's pressure would be too much. And eventually, I think Spence might hit him with a body shot that might close the show. That might end the fight. Because I'm not sure Keith Thurman is going to be able to absorb Errol Spence's hard body shots. So, although Thurman was a tough fight for Manny Pacquiao, and they may think that stylistically, Spence, they may look at him as an easier fight. They may think, well, Thurman's better. He's not better, in my opinion. He's Spence is going to be a lot more tougher, because Spence isn't going to be as easy to hurt as Thurman was. Spence is a lot more durable. And I think Spence has a better boxing brain than Keith Thurman. I think that is very important. I think Keith Thurman, like I said, is very good, and he has got good IQ. But Spence has better IQ. I believe Spence has a better boxing brain. I believe Spence can, like I said, stick to a plan, is more disciplined. Whereas I think Thurman, somewhere along the line, will get dragged into a war. And I'm not sure that's a good idea for Keith Thurman to get dragged into a fight, because I just don't think he's durable enough to be able to absorb shots from someone like Spence. So personally, I think although Thurman might be more athletic, I think Spence is the more complete boxer. Spence can box in the center of the ring. Spence can break you down. And also, when I say Keith Thurman's got better footwork, although I do believe his feet are faster, his hands might be a little faster, I just don't think he's that much better, where if they were to fight head-to-head, where it would make much of a difference. I think Spence would get to Keith Thurman, and I think Spence would stop him. I think Errol Spence has got a very, very good chin. And unfortunately, I can't say the same for Keith Thurman. I think Keith Thurman, although his chin's not bad, he's vulnerable. And at the top level, that vulnerability will be found out, especially when you get in the ring with someone like Errol Spence. Those flaws are going to be exposed. So that's why I personally think Errol Spence is more complete fighter. But again, I'd love to know your opinion. Maybe you disagree with what I'm saying. Maybe you think that, no, Thurman would beat Spence. Thurman is more complete. Thurman does those things better, so he makes him, he's a more complete fighter. I don't think so. I think Errol Spence is going to be a lot more tougher for Manny Pacquiao than Keith Thurman. I do. I don't think Manny Pacquiao is going to be able to hurt Spence as easy as he did with Thurman. And what you've got to understand is that that fight, I thought Thurman was doing very well in that first round. Up until he got dropped, I thought Thurman was doing very well. He may have even been winning the round. But that changed the course of not just the round, but the fight. If that knockdown didn't happen in the first round, who knows how that fight would have played out. I don't believe Manny Pacquiao may need early success against Errol Spence to get the momentum in his favor. So he may need to build up an early lead first 3 or 4 rounds, because otherwise Spence later on with his youth, stamina, relentless pressure might get to Manny if Manny's having to chase the fight. So Manny's going to have to, in my opinion, build an early lead over Spence and make Spence desperate, make Spence chase it. That's my take on it. I don't personally think that Thurman is better than Spence. And I think the fight, when they fight, Manny Pacquiao fights Spence, I think we'll see that. But that's just my take. Leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Guys, Maurizio Lara and Josh Warrington are going to fight in a rematch in September. I think Eddie Hearn was just waiting to see that if the government was, going to able to allow full capacity. Now we know that, with the Euros, there's been 60,000 fans that have gone in. So I think Eddie Hearn's probably got the go-ahead. So this fight is now going ahead. Headingley, I believe. So I think there's going to be like 20,000 there. Something on those lines. And it's a great fight. It's a great fight. Now, this is a very, very dangerous fight for Josh Warrington, because Josh Warrington got beat soundly in the first fight. And I'm pretty sure he wants to make an amends in the second fight. But it's a very, very dangerous fight. A very, very dangerous fight. And a fight that, you've got to give Josh Warrington a lot of credit, because he could have easily swerved that. But he's looking for revenge. And it's potentially... I wouldn't want to say it's a career finish. If he loses, it could be career ending, in the sense that where does he go from there? But the reality is, if he was to lose again to Lara, where does he go? He'll have to go down back in levels. He'll have to also take less money. If he was to lose to Lara again, we may not see Josh Warrington again. Who knows? Josh Warrington might not have the hunger and desire. I hope not, because Josh Warrington is a fighter that has given me a lot of entertainment over the years. I think he's a very fan-friendly fighter. I think he's a great fighter to watch. But I am worried about this rematch. I hope he wins, because we need more. We need him to get back to the world stage. But a lot of people said, look at Joshua when he fought Ruiz. He was able to outbox Ruiz and come back and beat Ruiz. The problem I have with this fight is that I feel like Joshua's a better boxer than Josh Warrington. I think Josh Warrington, for me, in his career, showed that he can only fight one way. He hasn't really showed me that he can box and move, and that's what I believe he has to do to beat Lara. I don't think he's going to be able to beat Lara fighting the way he did, or fighting the way he's normally fought throughout his career. And personally, I haven't really seen anything to suggest that Warrington can fight another way. He can box and move. For me, he'd have to fight like Joshua did against Ruiz to win that fight. He'd have to box and move. If he goes toe-to-toe with this guy and looks to have a scrap with this guy, there's no way he's coming out the victor. I just don't see it. I just think Lara's going to be too strong. And I think Lara will stop him again. The only way he wins this fight if he looks to box and move and use movement. He can't afford to go toe-to-toe with this guy. It's not going to end well if he goes toe-to-toe with Maurizio Lara, because what's going to change from the first fight, when we saw Joshua fight Andy Ruiz, if Joshua had fought the same way he fought in the first fight, there would have been nothing that would have changed. There would have been nothing that would have changed. Ruiz would have beat him again if he had gone toe-to-toe. If he had stand in the center of the ring and had it off with Ruiz. Ruiz has the faster hands. He would have come out best. But Joshua had that Olympic pedigree. Joshua could box. And he went back, trimmed down, slimmed down, and came back and put on a boxing masterclass against Ruiz in the rematch. I just don't know whether Josh Warrington has that in his locker, because that's what Josh Warrington's going to have to do. Josh Warrington can't fight his normal fight. Lara beat Josh Warrington at his fight, and that's what's worrying. Lara beat him at his own game. So now Josh Warrington's going to have to do something that doesn't come naturally to him, and that's box and move. If Josh Warrington goes in there, looks to do what he normally does, I don't feel the result's going to be any different. I just think Lara's going to be too strong again. So Warrington's going to have to go in there and box and move to win this fight. If he goes in there looking to have a scrap, looking to fight, I just don't see him winning this fight. But who knows? Maybe he'll fight him at his own game and beat him at his own game. Who knows? Maybe he can. Maybe it was something. He wasn't feeling well. He was ill. Maybe there was some other issues in camp that he was suffering with. Maybe there was other issues that he was suffering with that stopped him giving his best performance on that night. Who knows? But time will tell. In September, we find out, because he's going to fight Lara again. So leave your thoughts, guys. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. I'm excited for this fight. I think it's going to be a great fight. It's going to be a great fight. I'm looking forward to it. Leave your thoughts, guys. And guys, remember to please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.